Lil Nas X, he released his new album last night. It's called Montero. Now, let me just be clear. I know folks might be like, "Why are we talking about this?" Whatever, whatever. So, a couple of things here. I'm not saying Lil Nas X is, Patti LaBelle or Anita Baker or Teddy Pendergrass or anything like that. But I do have to tell you, hearing Lil Nas X and seeing his work and seeing the kind of work that he's doing, I never thought that I would see an artist like this. I never thought I would see a black gay hip hop artist who is unapologetically black, who is unapologetically gay. I thought we might see a white lesbian hip hop artist before we saw a black gay male hip hop artist, right? Doing what he's doing. And I checked out the videos last night and I listened to the album, and it's so weird. And this might be hard for some folks to understand. I think what's powerful is that for those who have any idea of the music industry, that Black LGBT folks specifically have been behind the scenes with so many artists for a very long time, right? But you were never allowed to be in front of the camera. You were never allowed to have the microphone. I've interviewed countless artists, and they have said, if it wasn't for this community, I mean, Black LGBT folks, not just LGBT in general, but Black LGBT folks, I wouldn't be where I am today. I can recall when I first began, when I did a lot of celebrity interviews in the beginning, which I didn't like doing celebrity content, but I had to pay the bills. The publicist would say to me when I interviewed some hip hop artists, well, it's a good thing that they may not be able to tell that you're gay, or you wouldn't be able to do the interview because they would be too uncomfortable. This happened to me more than once, right? I can recall if there was any kind of question that was outside of, I'm not even saying a quote unquote gay question, but anything that was outside of a certain kind of lens, they would say, no, they're not going to talk about that. So I remember just experiencing a lot of like bullshit when I was doing celebrity interviews and celebrity content. And then I think of all the amazing, talented people out, hip hop and R&B singers who were gay, and they didn't get access because a record label figured out they were gay and said, you know what, we're not even going to let you in the door. Like, we lost out on some really, really great talent who just had to be regulated behind the scenes, And then I think about Luther Vandross, and I want to play this clip of when I interviewed Jennifer Holliday, and she spoke about what Luther Vandross went through. And I think we all know Luther was a gay man, but he knew if that ever came out, it could gut his career, it could ruin his career. And I think if he was still here, I wish he was still here, I think he would be just blown away by what we're seeing today. Again, not saying Lil Nas X is a Luther Vandross. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But I think he would be really blown away by what we're seeing right now. But listen to Jennifer Holliday talking about Luther Vandross and what he went through. Miss Patty has talked about this, that he struggled really hard with not being able to be exactly who he was, and afraid of his female friends abandoning him. Did you see that in him, that fear?
I knew it. And the problem is, I feel too, with black artists more so than white artists, especially not just a black man, but a black female, lesbian, whatever, you're not going to be coming out to no black people because they're not even accepted in the church. I was like, sometimes I'll be listening to some of these people talk, and I say, you don't even know what the black gay person has to go through because of double, triple rejection from so many sides. And so I don't know if, there wouldn't have been no way he could have ever tried to come out or nothing. There's definitely no way any female could ever, not in the black community, not in whatever, because especially not with church people or whatever like that. Now it could be slightly different. Everybody can kind of do that now because everybody wants to be on the right side of history. But can you think about how many people, wonderful souls that we have lost, who just needed approval and love to walk into that?
Ain't no coming out to Black people. Wonderful people who just needed approval and love to walk into that. And so what I think is really interesting is that Lil Nas X is not asking for approval or love, which is amazing. And I'm so happy that he is being so provocative and so confrontational and is not asking for your approval. And I understand why other folks do. Now, for the late, great Luther, it might have been very difficult because he was considered a crooner. I don't even think it was possible. It just wasn't possible for Luther to step into who he was. So, I can only imagine the kind of loneliness he went through, the kind of fear he went through, paranoia he went through. God forbid there were blogs or social media in the 1980s or 1990s. Somebody certainly would have outed him, right? So I could only imagine what he went through. So there's that. And there's also the piece of, and if you don't get this, then it's not for you to get. If you don't get this, then you've been able to live in a world where you have representation, where you've seen couples who look like you. To see Lil Nas X in this video, that's what I want. To see him openly expressing a crush, something as simple and as sincere and as natural as a crush. To see him putting in the context of being left at the altar, and to have lyrics, because when you're someone like Drew and I, when you're growing up, you change the lyrics in your mind so it relates to you. You change the images in the videos so it relates to you. You look for the random reference that you might be able to relate to in the background of a random video. You seek out that kind of representation because you don't see it in Black media and you don't see it in white LGBT media.
Right.
So it's just really powerful. So I just salute Lil Nas X. I salute him for being exactly who he is. I think the music is good. Again, do I think he's Leontine Price? No, but I think it's some damn good pop, R&B, hip hop music. And more importantly, I never thought I would see it. I never thought I would see something like this. And so I know there are young Black LGBT folks who are seeing someone like Lil Nas X and they don't hate themselves as much. Not saying they don't have any self-hate, not saying they don't have any trauma, not saying they aren't in a household where they're being told you're going to burn in hell. But I know the power that James Baldwin had over me. I know the power that Alice Walker had over me. I know the power when I finally read about Bayard Rustin and Langston Hughes had over me. I know what that did. But to see it so clear and so unapologetic and so unashamed, it's really important. And you may not get it. And if you don't get it, like I said, it's not for you to get. But this has never been done before. Drew, your thoughts?
Hey, Clay, I couldn't agree with you more. Like the part that I love about this is that despite all of the things that all of the criticisms that people have about Lil Nas X, is that he is taking up space unapologetically, right? Like so much of when we have seen Black gay narratives in media or in general, it's been trauma porn, right? They always get HIV. They always die tragically. They're always lusting after some person who is actually straight, who treats them like shit, who shoplifts their attention, shoplifts their compliments, shoplifts their affection, shoplifts their money from them in exchange for like this hope that I can have proximity to somebody who will love me, right? And I love the fact that Lil Nas X is not leaning into all of the tragically gay pieces. He's telling his story. Yeah, I wish I had somebody to go to prom with, right? But then in the video, in one of the videos, he actually does get a chance to experience that. He's saying, I wish I had somebody to love. That's something that's universal. And what's crazy is that we, as Black people first, but we have always been done all of the mental gymnastics to watch TV, to watch movies, and to listen to music, to take something that wasn't created for us and try and see ourselves in it because we didn't have that opportunity or that option. And as Black queer folks, 100%, we've had to do that because there was nothing out there, or what was out there was so awfully done and so tragic, and a mischaracterization of us. This is an opportunity that, look, if regardless of what people first said, Lil Nas X was saying, oh, well, he's a gimmick. He's a marketing campaign. Actually, no, he had a launch strategy. He launched his career with a strategy. He used marketing strategy. He thought about it. He created a name that made sense for him. But he also, Old Town Road, he thought about it, right? And he made a song that people actually loved. You say, oh, well, now his new thing is he's a shock artist, right? He had a strategy to launch his career inside of a music industry that does not do it in the same old way that your favorite launched their career. And so this is a new day. It's a new era. You would not have a Tamar Braxton as a solo artist if it had not been for reality TV. And arguably, you would have not had Cardi B if it had not been for reality TV.
Arguably, damn sure you wouldn't have had Cardi B if it wasn't for reality TV.
Right.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So you have people who have strategies to launch their career. This dude launched his career without doing things to hurt Black people or Black iconography, or he didn't try to take down a Black icon to get a career. Many things that we have seen other people do and get a free pass in our community when they do it, right? And so people, even the other day, people were talking about, well, why does he have to show up and why does he have to be so feminine? He ain't even really that feminine, right? Like, he's playing with costumes, he's playing with hair, he's playing with all of these things, right? But it's not even, one, he should have the space to be that if he wants to do that, but it's not even like he's that feminine. Michael Jackson giggled like a schoolgirl well into his 50s.
Prince wore black panties on his face.
Panties.
Prince had his ass,
panties ass out all the time.
And ass out. Full
ass out, right. Heels on. And
right.
His hair was
more makeup than I've ever worn.
Right. His hair is bone straight, like he was going to the AKA probate show, right? So but because this man, this 22-year-old guy who is having a good time, that's the other piece of it that I love about him, is that he's having fun with it and he's creating art that makes sense for him. And honestly, for me, I love it, Clay, because it's Black as fuck and it's gay as fuck. I appreciate that because I've not seen that intersection unapologetically in a big, bold, unapologetic way, in a mainstream sense. I haven't seen it. And for me, he's showing up for queer people. I did not enjoy Old Town Road. I never listened to it. You know, I heard it was a catchy tune. It sounded like a TV jingle to me at first, right? But his representation, his innovation, his refusal to stop taking up space just because other people want him to stop taking up space, that's huge to me. It's like, and not for nothing, he's not sort of walking through his career with his head down, like, I'm just happy to be here. He's like, hell no, I'm going to do all of the things. I'm going to show up in all of the ways. And what I love about listening to the album last night was that people were saying before, well, he's like a mumble rapper, or the music isn't that good. Like, why aren't people putting out great music? I listened to the album last night. Is it going to be in heavy rotation for me for the next 10, 15 years? Like other things that I love? Absolutely not. But the songs like that Someone to Love song, that's going to be a hit. We will be hearing that song for the next few months. It's going to be a hit. And there's some really good, solid pop-ish hip hop R&B songs on the album. I don't think
there's also
some Lil Nas X.
There's some really good lyrical content on the album too. But I also want to add that
great writing.
That when you buy this album, I shouldn't say buy it, stream the album, every song on the album allows you to donate to a nonprofit organization. Several ones, stuff that deal with wealth inequality,
yep.
That deal with homelessness, One of them being the Bail Project, which is a national nonprofit on a mission to end cash bail. And I'm really passionate about that, considering what I do every single Wednesday with Exonerated. And so many folks remain behind bars because of cash bail, and they're put into this system. This other nonprofit called Bros and Convo, this is really great. It provides comprehensive multicultural sexual health and wellness education and peer support that empowers, promotes, and protects the healthy well-being of young Black men. Another group called Compassionate Atlanta. It's a grassroots community building nonprofit that seeks to raise awareness about the benefits of compassionate action throughout the greater Atlanta area by teaching people every persuasion and walk of life to challenge their concern for the well-being of others. There's Relationship Unleashed, which is for HIV/AIDS. There's a Central Alabama Alliance Recovery and Advocacy Center. It goes on and on.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody with their debut album. They are literally listing how you can donate, how you could support Black, queer, whatever the case may be, organizations. I've never seen somebody do that with their debut album. So, yeah, man. Alexa, your thoughts?
Well, from the ally perspective, I have a couple of things. First of all, the thing I love the most about Lil Nas X is how much he pisses homophobes off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just can't help it. Like somebody like Boozy, like, I just love that he is he's being unapologetic, being his full self, and it just drives people crazy.
Yeah.
Because you can't.
If you're mad about it, you got to ask yourself why.
Why? Right. What closet are you trying to force him into? Second, I really feel like he is about something. Like, I don't understand why people are trying to say that his music isn't about anything, that it's not that good. Look at the list that Clay just read. He is about something, which also bothers the homophobes that are trying to dismiss him as someone who is just costume and pomp and circumstance. Because that defeats all of that. It breaks that whole argument. It breaks it apart.
And he's doing it at 22. Like Alexa, like, 22. I love that.
He's doing it at 22. And he's also somebody who gives so much hope to so many young people who felt like they couldn't be themselves. Even some 40-year-olds who felt like they couldn't be themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's such a it's like a new day. It's such a refreshing thing. And like you said, I love it. It's Black as fuck. And I love it. When I saw that video, I was mesmerized of them kissing
the video,
together.
The video, that's what I want. The video, that's what I want.
That's what I want. They're kissing. It is beautiful to me. I was like, this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.